5 teams have clinched their seed, and tonight we will find out who is the 3 and who is the 4 between the Sun and the Aces, and then who takes the 8th seed between the Dream, the Sky, and the Mystics. That will be Atlanta with a win, Chicago with a loss. So let's break it all down here with our do-it-all analyst, Andraya Carter. She said, hey, Miss Carter, you're here to help us sift through all of these scenarios, right, sis? Let's start with tonight, though. What game are you going to be watching most closely as the regular season comes to an end?
Okay, let me tell you this, Malika. It is not just because I'm sitting here in the beautiful city of Atlanta and I'm an Atlanta girl, but I have my eye on the Atlanta Dream because you mentioned it. If they win, they're in. And they're playing the New York Liberty, who have been the best team all season. I'm not quite sure how many starters the New York Liberty are going to play high minutes. Like, I could see the Liberty resting some of their starters. They've got everybody listed as available, but I could see them prioritizing rest because that #1 seed is locked in. That also opens the door for the Atlanta Dream. And when we look at this Atlanta Dream team, they have the most firepower out of the 3 teams going for that 8th spot. Chicago's had a lot of injuries. The Mystics have been up and down. When you look at this Atlanta Dream team, Tina Charles, you know her accolades. She could set the record for career rebounds in tonight's game, surpassing Sylvia Fowles. Ryan Howard, she's an Olympian. She's an all-star. She's a bucket. Alisha Gray, defensive stopper, all-star, gold medalist. And Jordan Canada, who missed the majority of the season early, is healthy. She's a 2-time champ, and she is a defensive stopper with her on-the-ball pressure. So I'm looking for the Atlanta Core 4 to make a statement against the Liberty, especially if the Liberty rests their starters. It was a close game last time these 2 teams played. Atlanta lost by 6. They've got a lot of reasons to play. Getting into the playoffs, the biggest one to play their best basketball.
Okay, but if they don't, and rest would play a huge component in all of this, but it's a tall task against the Liberty. How exactly do they fare against the top seed?
Well, it's a tall task. Even if the Liberty rest, it's a tall task, because what have we seen from the Liberty that I've been the most impressed with is their depth and their bench support. Like, the Liberty, top to bottom, have an extremely threatening, dangerous team. So either way, Atlanta's got to lock in defensively. If you watch here, there's a double on the ball, so Nia Coffey has to guard 2. The defense doesn't rotate in time. The pass beats the rotation. You have to be there on the catch against New York Liberty players because they are that talented from beyond the arc, especially. Same thing here. No defense on the drive, so you get help. Now you've got 1 guarding 2. Jordan Canada has to guard 2 players at once. You can't do that. Leave Sabrina Ionescu wide open on the wing. And when I say wide open, you're like, wait, Alisha Gray is there, her hands up. That's too late against Sabrina Ionescu. You have to be there on the catch. Even if it looks like a great contest, it's probably 2 seconds too late against this Liberty team. So defending the 3, defensive communication, defensive rotations have to be a priority for the Atlanta Dream tonight.
Right, because if you give Sabrina an inch, she will take a mile. But whether or not the Liberty rests some of their starters, we will see. Speaking of rest, though, the Aces, their 4 stars, I'm talking about Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Andrea, they are all listed as doubtful and resting. And of course, the Aces, they'll be locked into the 4 seed anyways if the Sun win before the Vegas game tips, and Connecticut is a 14.5-point favorite in this one. So if the Aces don't win tonight, they'll be locked into a series with Seattle. What do you make of their 2 potential paths that they could be taking here?
The 2 potential paths, and now, Malika, you're someone that likes leg day, right? Like, you like leg day. You lift
all
legs,
leg day.
Fine,
Every day's
right?
leg day for me, Andrea. No upper body.
We love leg day, right? But if someone's like, you want to squat or you want to deadlift, it's like, oh, both are hard. But, like, I don't know. They're both hard, but I'll take either one. That's this Aces team. Both paths are hard. Think about it. In the first round, you're either going to face a young Indiana Fever team that is fast, lightning quick, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell. So you're facing the Indiana Fever first, or you're facing a veteran Seattle Storm team with Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith and Jewel Lloyd and Ezzy Magbogor, who all have playoff experience. So that's the first round. That's going to be hard either way. And then when you get into the semifinals, you're either facing the Liberty, who beat you 3 times this season, or you're facing Minnesota, who also beat you 3 times this season. So either way, both paths are going to be hard. I talked to Becky Hammon just before the show. She said, we're not worried about anybody but ourselves. These rest, all the rest that you just saw on that last graphic, it is to prioritize what her team needs. She said, I'm not worried about any other team. I'm not worried about any other path. She said, if her team is rested, she likes their chances against anybody. And you have to think, they've got the best two-way player in the league. So they're prioritizing rest and resting those other 3 highly skilled players because they lean a lot on their core 4.
Right.
It's also a bit of a 2-for-1, Malika, because if those 4 players rest, who gets more experience in this game? The bench players. And what we saw last season, Vegas had to win that championship down 2 starters. Your bench play is important. So you're prioritizing the rest of your core 4. You're giving your bench some experience. And at the end of the day, both of your paths are going to be hard. So I think Becky Hammon is just showing her team we're prioritizing rest and giving our bench some time.
Yeah, three-peating in the W. There's a reason we haven't seen it since the very early days of the league. It is hard, and that is what the Aces are attempting to do. Hey, Andraya, before we let you go, there's all this conversation right now about whether or not we could be seeing Diana Taurasi play her last game. What is your reaction to her comments saying that she knows the end is near, but she doesn't exactly know when yet?
I wish she would just let us know. It's so like DT to just leave us hanging, right? And leave us guessing and make us all try to figure out what's going to happen. But either way, if this is her last game, first of all, we should be giving DT her flowers at all times. But if this is her last home game, DT, we cannot thank you enough for what you have given to this game. Relentless dedication, her feistiness, her ferocity on the floor, the way that she plays and how much she has dedicated her life to this game. DT, we love you. Thank you. We can't say it enough.
Absolutely. So very well said. And in addition to all of that, every time she comes here on NBA or WNBA Today, she never fails to make all of us laugh. DT, I hope we're not seeing the last, but if it is, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Andraya, thank you so very much.